I glimpsed only a small fraction of what it means to be a digital nomad, but after 4 years of remote work, I can see plenty of illusions. That working from anywhere in the world is the absolute dream. Instagram is filled with cinematic shots of the best highlights, and I could do this even for this video. But I'm on the side of the road and there's a fucking mess. Influencers, coaches, social media love to sell you the dream, but they don't give you the right tools or the right mindset to approach this. At least that's my personal experience after traveling through Indonesia, the Philippines, and now Thailand while still working. And I'll tell you my truth, that this lifestyle, if mismanaged, can lead to stress, guilt, and isolation. That's why I distill my mindset of travel and remote work into 3 main pillars. The first pillar is figuring out if you really are doing something you enjoy or you want. You see, your problem's home if you despise what you do, if you don't like the relationship that you built professionally, if you don't love the responsibilities that you carry. Definitely, they are going to come with you. And I truly believe from first experience that if you don't like what you do, even if you go in the best place in the world, you're gonna pay the dividends sooner or later. And I think this is the most basic problem. Even before considering to travel and go digital nomad and actually working remote, you should highly consider, am I doing something that I really enjoy? And asking questions and figuring out this puzzle is gonna give you a lot of opportunity to enjoy both travel and remote work. And it is the reason why I don't believe in cookie cutter solution. That's why I call out an industry of influencers, of social media, of content that is just portraying you a beautiful life. And my suggestion to you is to finding games that are in your favor, something that you really enjoy doing. And like I said before, finding a game that has fun and adventure embedded into them is crucial here. Or you could also focus on something that is a personal obsession. For me, personally, it's marketing, it's tech, it's software, and I'm fortunate enough that these all are consistent with remote work. So I had some notes about this. There's a great read from the, of course, Almanac of Naval Ravikant, but specifically the sections Escape Competition Through Authenticity and Play Long-Term Games with Long-Term People. Or you can go at nav.al/long-term. But before listening to anybody else telling you what to do, which job to choose, which business to build, I think you have to find your own answer. And now the second pillar, figure out your current priorities. Are you trying to get the best of both worlds? The novelty, unpredictability, and fun of travel, and the professional success, upskilling of yourself and improvement of your professional life in work? And here is my personal pitfall. I don't see anybody in the industry talking about it, so I'll open up and be vulnerable about this. I've realized that the experience of pure travel, unstructured schedules, while still trying to work and go on towards my mission are completely clashing. And I'm not inherently saying that you can't. I'm sure somebody is managing to. There must be some sort of outlier, because I believe the two are clashing with each other. They have different priorities. They take you on other polar opposites. Basically, being able to deeply work on something that you love and then going and enjoying sunset every day with your friends, it's probably gonna crush every now and then. So separating the two is really, really important. In the Philippines, I was lucky because I had the personal knowledge and a support system of friends and my personal travel experience to tell me what to do. I decided to end up early the trip because I wanted to extend to Vietnam and Laos, but I chose that in that period of life, in that season of life, work was my priority, so I came back to Italy. You know, I wanted to obsess and work on my craft, but at the same time, I wanted to enjoy the conversation, the dinner, the sunset, the being with friends careless in the Philippines. But here was my mistake. I was trying to get the best of both worlds with no trade-offs. And that's simply impossible, at least for my personal experience I had. And now the third pillar, finding a sacred rhythm and a slower pace. Here in Thailand, I came with a different approach. I chose to find a rhythm similar to Italy, finding the same place with a cappuccino, finding a co-working space with a monitor, and places where I could eat healthy and find my rhythm. Going to the gym more often and finding the best places to eat, to spend my time, and to also work deeply on my craft. In some way, I'm trying to trick my brain or helping it believe we're still in Italy, finding similar resources that I have in Italy, finding similar contexts and environments. For example, the monitor is a very great way for me to lock in on work, having a bigger space to be able to work on the task, to design, to do marketing, and do all of the stuff that I have to do daily. And during 5 days a week, I have a more structured schedule, I have more repetitive repetitive stuff that I have to do. It's more routine, and that is the trade-off, because during the weekend I get to explore around, I get to take a motorbike and enjoy the island without having guilt, without feeling stressed, because I was able to structure the full week and then enjoy the weekend with friends. So in this way, I experienced both the travel in Asia with friends, but also especially my priorities and my work ethic is untouched. I have some notes here about some good practice. Slow down time between location changes. This is very important. If you're moving a lot during travel, I think it's going to be very stressful for work. So I'm doing one move every 2 weeks, and I'll stay 1 month here, so it's just 2 changes of location. Making reoccurring events in your day, coffee, sunset, walk, training, whatever works for you. An activity that grounds you, that makes you feel present and helps you have that daily routine. And finding spots that help you get back into work mode. For me, it's co-working spaces like this one or cafes like I showed you before. Of course, you're gonna kill a lot of opportunity, but this is something that's helping me increase and improve the experience of travel while I'm working so much. This is how I can focus on the mission and lock in more easily when I'm away from home and routine. Then I have a personal note that I wanted to share with you. If you don't mind working distracted, stressed, or underperforming with bouts of joy found in the novelty of travel, maybe then you don't like the job you have, and maybe that's fine too. It can be a transition or an intentional choice. And here I have a couple of questions for you to gain perspective and figure out the factors to prioritize travel or work. Am I using remote work's flexibility to travel more without hurting productivity? Am I fully exploiting remote work to travel more without interest on performance? That's a really great question, I think, to understand how are your priorities set. How much experience do I have working remotely? How much am I comfortable with travel? And how much do I want to focus on work? Answering to those questions will give you a lot of personal insight, a lot of clarity, and maybe you could also say, Dylan, all that you said until now is total garbage, and that's totally fine too. So I just wanted to peel off some of the bullshit of the industry and really give you a raw, authentic sharing of experience of what I had in the past, what I felt during travel. So you could see some of the backstage, some of the thinking behind, and also some of the tools that I use to this day to travel and feel better while I work. As always, this is a personal experience and there's a lot of personal bias on all that I've said, but I hope I gave you some of the tools that I use to this day for travel and work. And as always, with love for humans, by humans. See you in the next one.